So I have a kind of a weird Menasor with a couple of different things about it. And I wanted to talk about how that is. And why that is. Before we get into why I have a weird Menasor, I wanted to talk to you about why I even have a Menasor. The thing about me is I love trailers and trucks. Like, that is one of the subsets of my collections in terms of Transformers, right? So that will be Optimus Prime, usually Ultra Magnus, at times Megatron, if we're talking about the movie. It would just be really trucks and the trailers that go along with them. And Motormaster has long since been a figure that I have been looking at. The thing about Motormaster is that no Motormaster mold has ever been the perfect chug. Okay, so in terms of alt mode, he's always been either too small or way too big. Combiner Wars was the last official one. And any third party figure that was pushing Masterpiece class that even came remotely close to being chug scale were just a wee bit too big. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just go ahead and wait. And we got leaks that we were gonna get a Motormaster in Generations. That was good news for me. And when Motormaster finally came about, I definitely planned to get him. So yeah, I was very excited, and getting all the previews for him and finally having him in hand, he did not disappoint at all, and I was very, very happy with him. Along with Motormaster, I also got Dragstrip and Wild Rider, like many of you. So those three basically came together. So I was like, okay, cool. So I guess we just have to wait for Dead End and Breakdown. Okay, but as many of you know, if you've seen the reviews, Breakdown isn't particularly the greatest stuff. It's like, for some reason, every release of a Stunticon was successively worse than the last, and Breakdown got the shaft like entirely. He's basically just a redeco of Wild Rider. Not wait, well, he has some retooled parts as well, but mostly he's just a redeco. Minor retool. And he just doesn't cut it. And for a lot of people, that's okay, because he's just a leg. But the thing is, I want my characters to be individual bots as well. Well before I found out about Breakdown and how subpar he was gonna be, though, somebody, the guy who sold me the drag strip and the Wild Rider, was like, oh, you know what? I have a knockout too. The thing is, I wasn't really planning on getting a knockout, but the deal was way too good to pass up. Funny thing is, as soon as I got the knockout, it became literally one of my favorite figures of everything. I was like, okay, this is a fun toy. And I was like, oh, you know what? It's gonna be nice if we if Breakdown comes in. I don't have too much of an attachment to Breakdown and Knockout, but I did like them in Prime. It would be nice to, have, since they're boyfriends in the comic books, I was like, it would be nice to, have them share the dual weapons, because all of the Stunticons, as far as I knew, had dual weapons. But somebody pointed out that, X, I don't think Breakdown's gonna come with dual weapons. He's like the only one that doesn't. Weird move, Hasbro. Why would you give literally every single limb other than one 2 guns? I was really kind of, it's just a me thing, of course. I was kind of hoping it was gonna be cute to have Breakdown share his guns with Knockout. So I was just like, okay, that's another thing that's not gonna be fun for me. But it's a completely a me thing. I totally get that nobody else would get that. Somebody else said that it was cute. So at least, there's a little bit of validation in that. And then I would watch these reviews and find that breakdown was kind of subpar. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just make a breakdown that was closer to the prime counterpart. My other option would have been to make a breakdown from Soundwave, authentic Soundwave, because the alt modes are kind of close, right? So I was like, okay, if I could just modify this somehow, I could make it work. And I realized that the way he flopped down, like it would work on Motormaster with some modifications. Like I would need to add some peg holes, probably using Legos to make that work. But I was like, maybe there's a better option. But at this point, I was also researching the Combiner Wars counterpart of Wild Rider was off-road, and that I did not know this because I was like, maybe I could retool him and redeco him into a breakdown. A good friend of mine pointed out that he was actually retooled into breakdown in Japan. So I was like, okay, so this is interesting. But I was like, maybe a bigger version. But then also you guys pointed out when I was asking about the oversized off-road, you guys pointed out that if I did get him oversized, he would be too oversized, like pretty much leader class already. So I was like, okay, so no go there. So now I'm still searching for an off-road, but not like a knockoff version, the oversized Weijang version. I'm just gonna be getting the Combiner Wars version and just kind of have him join these guys just because he's also a Stunticon, not necessarily to form Menasor. Now with regard to breakdown, I was like, okay, so maybe I'll just get breakdown, the official one, and see how that works out. But my order got canceled. That was a Christmas order and it got canceled. So I was like, okay, this is kind of sad. So I just searched around and JDMV was kind enough to say that, hey, we have one in stock, and basically it was around the price that I was gonna get him for. So it was perfect. It was a Christmas miracle. And now I have both Knockout and Breakdown. And both of them are because of, people who just offered them to me. Because I needed them. And that was awesome. It's a nice Christmas miracle to have these guys together at last. And I basically just took the weapons off of Wild Rider, and I was like, okay, and these aren't yours anymore. I'm just going to give you another generic gun, and I'm going to give them to Breakdown and Knockout, so they both have the same thing. So now you're going to see how Menasor works with Breakdown and Knockout, because I don't have Dead End yet, and I'm in no rush to get him. The thing is, Menasor works well with Knockout and Breakdown. And this is how. So here we got Menasor with drag strip on the right arm and Wild Rider situated here behind the left leg. So there you go. So yeah, we're waiting for Dead End, and we're not going to be using the stock breakdown. This one wasn't properly. Okay, so we're not going to be using the stock breakdown or the breakdown that's supposed to come with the line, because again, it's not as great as I would have liked it to be, just personally. So this is just an alternative for people who want like a more unique breakdown to go with their Stunticons. So we're going to be using War Breakdown, which is basically Prime Breakdown, and also Legacy Knockout to go with this figure. So how would we go about doing that? So now I have both in vehicle mode, and they're just basically going to plug into Menasor here. The thing about Menasor is you don't just have to do it with these two figures. You can pretty much do it with any figure that has 5mm ports pretty much anywhere in the figure. You're going to be able to do that. Zero problems. So anyway, here we've got Knockout. So we've got 5mm port here. We've got two 5mm ports here. We're actually going to be using one of these 5mm ports. And then for Breakdown, he has actually a lot, because the reason is he was made for the ARMS Micron release. Here's the arms micron. Little hammer. This is also going to figure into the transformation later. Now, he's got a lot of 5mm ports. So 3 here, 1 here, and then we've got 1 here, another here where we plugged in the gun that we gave him from Wild Rider. Got another one here, and a couple more here. So there you go. All I'm basically going to be doing is what I did to try to make him fit into Menasor was basically to find a 5mm port literally anywhere that will work. I mean, I can pretty much do it anywhere that there's a 5mm port, but I wanted to put him in the same spot as I would have the other breakdown. So all I really needed to do was find a 5mm port that would match this one. Put the rear end down like this, and you've got a 5mm port here, and all I had to do was stick it to that 5mm peg that was sticking out of Motormaster here, and it's actually perfect. So just gonna go ahead and do that, and there he is. He's already stuck on the side. Now he's a bit big, sure, but the thing is, he looks fine in robot mode. I was also I was thinking of getting off-road to match this side and see if there's something I can do to make the legs bigger on this side as well. But otherwise, I like it. I like how it turned out. Basically, you've got one strong leg, and I know it's a little funny, but otherwise, I like the look of it. I like that it's a unique leg configuration compared to just the stock configuration that breakdown was gonna give him if it was just a legacy evolution breakdown. Okay, so there you go. So just so you see how that would look. Yes, he's bigger, of course. And I imagine if I put an off-road on the other side, then it would even him out a little bit. But otherwise, I'm okay with how this looks. But we're not quite done, actually. So now that we have the leg position, you'll notice that this part is hollow because he doesn't have the ability to close Menasor's legs if you put the figure on the leg. So what we're gonna do is mitigate that and also support the transformation using the arms micron hammer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna align it and find that 5mm peg hole there, so you can see, and just match it up. And basically this is going to support the transformation. It's a lot easier to do this without the camera, to be honest. But because there's a camera, somehow transformation's harder. There you go. Okay. So there he is. That's pretty much it. Now as for Knockout and pretty much any figure that you're going to want to put on Menasor, you'll need to free up some space in terms of the 5mm ports because they don't clear because of these areas. So like this space is a no-go for this figure because it's too deep within. So is this, but the thing is I could do something with the transformation to make it work. So this is the correct transformation. All I'm gonna do is I'm going to accordion this section here. And now I have 5mm ports freed up. So all I'm gonna do is plug one of the 5mm ports on, and he's essentially now a pauldron. And there you go. So that is my mashup Menasor. So it's a pretty good combo. I like it. The sword's still very, very tiny, so I expect that DNA design will come through with the upgrade kit that they're gonna give us, which will allow for longer legs and a better, well, everything, to be honest. Longer sword, and I think modified hands too, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm excited for that. But here we have the non-stock Menasor, which I really like. And to be honest, it's making me not want to rush to buy dead end. I know this is not the stock configuration. I know the proportions are a bit wonky, but again, it is my toy, and it's just something you can do if you wanted to make him look a little different. Now, I'm gonna have another video wherein I'm going to show you guys how to combine the 6th member onto Menasor. So watch out for that. You can use him as something different than he was originally intended to be. In the original, he was basically just on the chest. On the Combiner Wars version, we can't really do that here. So, not unless I put like 5mm pegs here, but you know, I don't really want to do that. I mean, I guess I can, but I'm not going to. Yeah, watch out for that. So guys, follow me on X_Paco at Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to see my art, some Transformers related art on there as well, visit at _art of X. It's on multiple social media platforms. Till next time, peace out.